Welcome to the Module Podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Billy.
And this is the podcast where we talk about everything technology, PC gaming, peripherals, consoles, everything.
Mice,
and
keyboards,
phones. Everything technological. That's a word.
Technological.
Words are hard.
Techie. Techaroo.
So this is a new show under the Really Likable Geeks umbrella.
I'm pretty sure it just started a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I did. We just started this thing. We're branching out, obviously, to do a few new things, and this is something that I've been in talks with Billy and some of the other guys about. And we're really excited to bring this show to you. Obviously, the PC gaming market and just PCs in general, the accessibility of like peripherals has become really super accessible,
and it's
to
thanks
the
to
masses.
NVIDIA. It's changing every week, so
yeah.
that's pretty rad.
Yeah, and there's a lot of new things coming out, and it's obvious. In some ways, it's getting a little harder to understand because with Pascal, CUDA cores, and blah blah blah.
Can you keep up with all the architectures that are going on?
It's nuts. But with that, it is becoming a lot more accessible to the public, and we like technology. We have our own builds. We have our builds behind us, and we'll dive into what we're running in there in a little bit here, and future plans. But so we thought we would start a show about technology because technology is cool.
It's not going anywhere.
It's kind of like a science. It is a science, computer science.
It's computer science.
It is. It's a real thing. Don't laugh.
It's kind of like a science. It's kind of like a science that really
Brian's
is
over
science.
here laughing. Stop laughing. It is a science. It counts. Yeah, you could go to college for that.
Yeah, there's literal courses about it.
Yeah, I think it's called computer science.
It's called computer science.
So anyways, so we thought we'd start a show, and we're gonna.
It's not rocket science.
No, it's not. That's a different science.
it's a science about
That
rockets.
is still a science.
I believe.
This podcast is going wonderfully already. So, all right. So this week we're going to talk about a few things. This is a little kind of all over the place, but your first PC build. What was your first PC build?
My first actual PC build, spending my own money and not my parents' money, and not being a
pleb.
A pleb. I built an Intel build with the 6700K. Mostly built it for gaming.
Oh, so it was just recently.
This is really
6700K.
Actually, it just came up on my time hop a year ago. I built it.
The 6700K build.
Yeah, I got. I think 2 days ago, in 1 year, I got it in the mail. Thank you, Amazon.
It's a good processor.
It's a great processor.
That's actually what's in my build behind me. The 6700K.
Thanks,
Billy.
Which is funny because he was super AMD and I was super Intel, and right now our builds are pretty much switched.
We switched it up.
We're pretty much switched.
We switched it up a little bit.
1 year after buying the 6700, the Ryzen 7 came out, which is what's in my build right now. And
the 1800X.
The 1800X specifically, and it caught my eye way more than AMD had ever caught my eye.
So this is your first actual...
This is my first AMD build. The only other time I've worked with AMD was some laptop my dad had back in the Stone Age. So
laptops don't count as a build.
It doesn't count as a build.
Does anyone really even make custom laptop builds?
Origin.
Is that thing? Well, okay.
Back
but
then?
I mean, could you just buy? I don't think you could just buy a laptop case and start putting stuff in it.
Yeah, you ever been to PC Parts Picker?
Yeah.
They have.
I don't think I've ever built my own laptop.
They have a whole section, a whole website dedicated to building laptops.
Custom your own?
Customizing laptops.
I've never done that. That's crazy.
It's
the only thing I've ever seen that's close to saying a custom laptop would be there was a guy in the UK, I think it was, who was building Xbox laptops. And did you see that? It was like a laptop case, but the inside was all an Xbox 360 and it had a screen on top. I was like, that's cool, but I've ever built my own laptop before.
Yeah, I saw it one day. I think I either misspelled PC Parts Picker. I did something weird. I Googled it wrong, and it came up with the laptop section. I was like, these are not the parts I'm looking for.
Oh my god. For those of you listening, he just did the Obi-Wan.
These are not the parts I'm looking for.
That was great. I actually was just talking on Reddit about my first PC build. Some of these may be way out of your maybe you don't know any of the numbers or anything.
Am I too
but
new?
For anybody listening, you guys will go, whoa. But I built computers back when RAM was only at like megs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It
was bad.
I had a computer. I had to switch to 256 megs because it wouldn't run. It wouldn't run Oregon Trail. It took me a day to forge the river in real time. That was a 95 Macintosh I was talking about. It took me so long.
Is it the one with like? Was it like it had like color shell? Like it was like blue?
No. This was when they were that gray box.
Oh.
And
okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
On top of this like other slimmer gray box that was your power supply. It was garbage.
Yeah, but back then it was like
when we moved up
to 1 meg of RAM,
when we moved up to 256 megs, it was like going through a time warp.
Back then, dude, 128 megs of RAM was just like, dude, I can process everything.
Process all the
Single
things.
Processor, half a hertz, like, or whatever it was.
I don't even think it was that.
I
don't even think they had 2 cores.
No. But mine, I'm looking at my thing. 128. Oh no, I'm sorry. I had 512 megabyte upgrade of my RAM, and then I had a Radeon 9250 in there, and which was like the 92 like for AMD, you know. But dude, that thing was garbage. But my first actual like addition to it, like because you put the motherboard and you put the processor and all that stuff like that. I didn't water cooling. It was all air. It was all air. It just had like the normal air.
Did they have
thing.
water cooled then?
I think if it was an experimental stage. It was like
in
in 2000.
I'm pretty sure it was just someone spraying.
It was like in
it down with a
2010
hose.
is when I built this thing, dude.
Oh, okay.
This is like 8 years ago.
I'm still stuck in the 95.
But yeah, if you think about it, it's only been 8 years or since then, so it hasn't been. The computers have come a long way in 8 years.
A long way.
But my first actual edition was like, all right, I'm gonna add something to this board. I don't even remember what the board was, but it was a sound card. I was like, whoa! It was like a sound blaster thing. I was like, it was ugly, but it did everything I needed.
It had all the plugs.
It did stereo, because you know how we have like the cards now that do
before 5.1 on those cards.
No, we have 5.1, 7.1, or whatever.
7.1 now.
Yeah, and back then it was just like, dude, it's just like upgraded stereo.
I can hear left
like it was the best
and right.
I remember it was so cool because I had the option to capture sound from the computer, and I was just like, I never used it, but it was there, and I was like, I needed it because that's when I was using like Real Player.
That cost you an extra $20.
That was back when I was using like Real Player.
Oh, jeez.
Anybody remember Real Player?
Remember Winamp?
Whoa. My dad still uses
Winamp.
My dad still uses
Winamp. Had the coolest skins ever. It did have the coolest skin. One had like the Matrix skin.
Yeah.
Didn't move. It just stayed there, but it looked like the Matrix.
I think I had like an Inuyasha one or something.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Miss those?
The Winamp skins? I miss the Winamp skins. And I miss Winamp. Is that I'm pretty sure that's still. No, my dad still uses it.
I wish iTunes had like a Winamp kind of skinned option.
There's got to be a mod for it.
There's got to be.
It's PC world. There's got to be a mod for it.
Yeah, but you're also talking about iTunes, so.
Fair.
Basic.
Apple, you suck.
I still use it all the time.
Apple sucks. But yeah, so that was my first build. And I remember I got it, and I was super stoked about it because I could play Team Fortress 2, and I was like, whoa, I can play it on high. Before
I can play it on high.
I was stoked about it because like I don't know, that was the new hotness back then. I think like CS I was playing Counter-Strike too back then. And I was like, whoa, but I remember like Team Fortress. I was like, oh, Team Fortress is the best. Like I could play with my
I had to go
500. No, I think it was like 256 meg. I don't even know what that graphics card was. I think it was 256 megabytes.
I still had to go to all the PC cafes and everything I still had to go there to play anything like Counter-Strike. I never even like in my head growing up thought about building my own computer until, God, what, Diablo 3 was announced? When they first announced Diablo 3?
Whoa, man, how long has that been now? 5 years?
No, when they first announced it.
Oh, when it was just like...
It was like 2006 or 2007 when they first announced it.
About that,
and I was like, I'm going to build my own computer. I had no idea what I was doing. I bought an HP, which, first mistake ever.
I think like back then, though, like...
It
wasn't a huge
but
deal.
Mine didn't have a graphics card that came with it. I bought it. I was working at Sam's Club. So I got it for super cheap.
That's the way to do it, dude.
And
work for the company that provides
it came with the monitor. I was like, oh, this thing's gonna be beast. I'm gonna buy a graphics card for it. Never bought the graphics card for it. 3 years later, they announced Diablo 3 again. I'm like, wait, I've heard this before. Hold on, what's going on? You guys still haven't released it yet. I bought this computer for that, and now it's pretty much dead technology.
Yeah, it's just dead tech.
It might have been a quad core. 2007. I think it was a quad core.
Oh my gosh.
But it was
garbage.
Slow.
It was garbage.
It was still garbage. But it ran Sims 2. And I mean,
and Warcraft.
Yeah, and Warcraft,
not World.
And StarCraft.
Warcraft.
Yo, not World of Warcraft.
World
Don't ask it to do that.
Don't ask it to do that.
Poor thing. It actually just got dismantled I think you were over at my house when I was putting in the gigabyte motherboard.
Oh, the Z170X?
I was taking apart
you were taking
parts
everything
from
out.
the HP.
Yeah,
that was the first computer I ever bought on my own.
You still had... Oh, my gosh.
I still had it.
Jeez.
I still have the hard drive somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I wasn't good at it. Luckily, the internet came around and I could do research.
My first time I ever built my PC, I did the dumbest thing that you could do when it came to like... Because, okay... Back then, when the internet was like around, like it was like I had dial-up. I ran on dial-up. I just dated myself, but like I ran on dial-up, and it was literally like I'd be playing games on BattleNet, and I'd be like the phone would ring. I'd be like, "Don't answer the phone," and Mom would answer it.
I unhooked phones,
and then I would just be like, "Oh well, I got disconnected from StarCraft. Like I got to start over," and I lost on a money map. And you know what I'm talking about. The first time I ever built the computer, the motherboard that I had, I fried it. I like legitimately fried the board, and it was because I like it goes back to what I said about being on dial-up. The internet was relatively new, so us trying to learn that we could just look up anything on the internet, we were learning that we have this like infinite knowledge on a digital platform. We can find out anything. I didn't think to look up. Because like it was all new. It was like I didn't think to look up how to do something on the internet.
You didn't ask Jeeves?
I no. I think I was using Dogpile at the time.
Oh, I always ask Jeeves.
I always thought about what I did was I went to like Walmart or something. They had PC magazines, and I was looking in, and one of them was like how to build a PC. I was like, oh okay. You put the motherboard in, you put the thing in, you plug in the power source. Okay, I can do this.
This is simple.
I grounded the board to the case. I didn't put the pins. The risers from the board to the case. So when I turned it on, it would turn on, and then it would go boo, and then shut off, and then boo, and then shut off. And then I remember I was like, I can't figure this out. And I had my hand on the case, and I turned it on, and it went, and then I took my hand off the case, and it turned off. And I was like, what is going on? I did everything. I took the whole thing apart, put it back together, turned it on, and it went. And I was like, oh, okay, something must have just been loose or something. And then I just started smelling this like fried components, and the board where the power source is and everything was just black. And I was like, well,
oh no,
what did I do? And I couldn't figure it out for like the longest time. So I remember I went to my buddy's house and I was like, so I fried my board. I got another one, but what do I do? I did the same way, and he was like, did you ground your board to your case? And I was like, I don't know what that means. And he was like, oh my gosh, you're going to burn your new board. And he did it. So the first time I ever built a computer, I fried the motherboard because I didn't understand. Like, it's the little things that you forget.
On this first build that I did a year ago, again, a man of 27 years old, I thought I ruined my brand new computer because I turned it on once before I got the graphics card in, and everything worked fine. Everything started up. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just not going to use it because I was mainly using it for gaming.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, there's no point in using it right now.
Right.
Shut it off. Got the graphics card off a guy off Craigslist.
Where you get all your stuff.
where you get all this stuff. And I was like, dude, if this isn't good, like, I don't usually buy stuff like that on Craigslist, but I was broke-ish because I had just spent everything else on the rest of the computer. And so it was this 970, this Asus 970 this guy was selling.
The white one, right?
Yeah, that white and red one.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, dude, I still have the other two. He had 4 of them. He's like, I still got the other 2. Those work great. I have no need for these 2. I was like, okay. So I bought 2 of them. Obviously sold one to a friend of mine. Put it in, plugged it all in, turned on the power. It would turn on. You'd hear a click. And it would shut off.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh God. what have I done? And for half an hour, I'm probably sitting there waiting 5 minutes, turning on. Oh. I was just stressing out.
I think I remember you calling me.
I'm looking on like.
I think you asked me about this.
I think I
what's
did.
What's going on,
and
dude?
And you're like, I don't know. It might be a bad graphics card. I'm like looking on Google. Like everyone's pointing towards bad graphics card. I'm freaking out. And then I realized finally later on, I kind of took time away from it. And I realized later on that I took a 4-pin plug from my power supply, obviously, and put the 4-pin to the graphics card where I didn't realize that it had to be the 3-pin and 2 or the 6-pin and 2-pin.
6 and 2, yeah.
I guess the 8-pin, sorry.
Yeah.
So it would be the 6 and 2 and not just a straight 8-pin.
Yeah.
So I finally was going through my bags. Maybe I had a bad power cable or something like that. I was going through my bag of plugs and realized that one said PCI on it. I was like, oh, okay. This one just says type 3. So I go plug it in and it works fine. I'm like, I'm an idiot. So
and you were on that for a while. Dude.
I was
you was like Googling everything.
I was stressing about that for like,
and it was
probably,
like, did you plug it in?
Probably
I definitely did that.
Yeah, probably a good hour.
You were working on it. I think I remember you calling me about that. Like,
I was
dude,
freaking out.
My card is like you're like, dude, I put the thing in, it's not working. I was like,
I was about to call the guy and be like, yo, this card's bogus. Because I called the friend that I sold it to. I was like, hey, does your card work? Yeah, my card works great.
I do remember that because I told you, I said, hey, plug it, take the card off and push the power and see what happens. And you're like, it turns on.
All I had to do was unplug the card and it turns on. I'm like, oh.
And I was like, yeah, dude, it sounds like your card is
I was so
bad.
I was so upset. It wasn't. It was just lack of knowledge.
So, and now we're pretty, I'd say now we're pretty knowledgeable. I mean, I don't know about you, but
I'm getting more knowledgeable. The problem with searching that up on Google is no one is dumb enough to do that themselves. So no one gave me an answer. Like no one was able to answer the question for me because everyone's like, oh, you have to be a pleb to do that. So I'm like, it's just me. If you guys are watching this and anybody else has had that problem,
I think that's
You're not alone. Call me. There's a support group going on for it right now because I'm still in shock.
I think that's the best way though, is to learn by screwing up, because then you know how to fix it without being like Google.
Exactly. As long as you don't fry anything.
Yeah. I know. I know. Dude, like now that's the first thing I look for. I'm like, all right, you got everything? Yep. You have those motherboard risers?
Yeah.
So I think we're getting much more knowledgeable with it for sure. And my next endeavor is to do a custom water loop.
Yes.
That's, I've been watching Jay's 2 cents.
Jay's 2 cents. Yeah.
And I respect him, and I really, really, really like what he does, and I trust his input a lot. So I feel confident enough to do my own water loop, but at the same time, it's really like it's
touchy.
It's touchy, and I'm not worried about leaking so much. I'm worried about that. Like it's funny because everyone's like, "Wow, it's a water cooled build. Wouldn't you be worried about it leaking or anything like that?" No, my fear is that I'm gonna buy everything, and then I'm gonna custom heat and bend the tubes, and I'm not gonna bend them right, and I'm gonna just waste tubes. So I've been told by somebody like, hey, if you're gonna do a custom water loop, just do it with the normal acrylic, like
you can do acrylic tubes, and you can get an acrylic bender, which is kind of nice.
What is that called? Yeah, just like the regular vinyl tubes or whatever they're called.
Yeah, acrylic.
Can't remember what they're called, right. But not the hard ones. So they're like, yeah, just do that first, get an idea for it. The soft ones.
Yeah.
and do that. I'm afraid that I'll do a hard, the hard one and bend wrong, and I won't. But the other thing I'm worried about is, what if I heat it wrong and I make a hole and it cracks something and it leaks through that? Then I'm more worried about actually the building
work
part
into it
than the actual leaking part, because leaks are gonna happen. I understand that. Sorry. And he said that. Jay said that. He's like, he said, I just kicked the table and his water almost went. But he said, he's like, hey, leaks are going to more than likely happen. He had a video that he made where one of his systems was leaking after it not leaking for a
like
while.
a $9,000 system he built?
Yeah, it was the yellow build that he had.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's like, he's just like, it sucks. I changed it out. I'm like, geez, dude. But yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I'm also worried about, because that fluid's expensive.
It is.
I'm worried about wasting some of that fluid if something does go wrong.
Well, I mean, you could also you could always, like, as far as bending tubes go, I've had a little experience because I used to bend brake lines as big a mechanic. So, I mean, I understand it's a different world because it's a plastic or an acrylic, and you got to heat it up and bend it and kind of do that all nice and neat. But you can also, like, ways to test it is you can, plug one end and put air on the other end, or hold water in it and see if it drips anywhere. Put air on one side and a little pressure to it. You can test it that way, but the thing I'm worried about is the exact opposite of you. I'm worried about leaks.
About leaks?
And I've explained this to people before, that the only reason I'm worried about leaks and that I'm going to wait until I do a build is get steady income to where if I do screw something up,
you can replace it.
I can replace it myself, because a lot of times they're not going to cover that under a warranty because
it's water.
You've done all the work yourself, so they're not liable for it.
I think there's some.
I
think there's some warranties based on
leakage,
on leaks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think there is. If specifically if you're going to do a water build,
I just want to be
expensive.
I just want to be able to cover myself if anything does happen.
I mean, I definitely want to do a custom water loops, because the PCs are going more from performance to looks. I think a lot too, because even a lot of the really performance stuffs, it's like, oh, I want that one. Why? Because it's got lights in it. Because it does all this stuff. It's like, I got the Founders Edition, and it says GeForce GTX on the side, and that's fine, and I'm fine with that. I like performance over looks. However, I like the looks of custom water loops.
You can get both,
dude. Like, it's because you can just have normal stuff without, like, all these crazy lights from your graphics cards and everything like that. Gosh, really, it's so stoked about his lights and everything.
I like them,
but the custom water loop gives it that extra without having to go
it's not
crazy,
super flashy.
Yeah, but it just looks cleaner.
It does
too, because it's So I want to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna start getting more ambitious in my builds, and custom water loop is the next thing I'm gonna do. So all right. So speaking of that, you just upgraded to the AMD Ryzen 1800X.
I did.
You've had a week with it. How are you liking it? Because you do a lot of music. Give people a little backstory about yourself.
We record music in my house. The band I have, a lot of the guys come over and we write, and it's pretty CPU intensive, but it's not like, seeing as I had the 6700K before.
Yeah,
that would handle it. Like, it could do what you'd want it to do. You can't get too many instances of, like, different instruments and stuff like that, like MIDI instruments and other things, just because you would overload a processor. But it was one of the big things that I worried about going to Ryzen, was nobody had really done a bench test as far as it being a DAW, an audio workstation. It's nobody did any benchmarks. They were all, here's how it compares in gaming, or here's how it compares in video editing and stuff like that. And especially what I use is Cubase is a little weird as far as a audio workstation goes, because it doesn't handle multi-core very well, even though they say it should.
Yeah. And
there's options for it on there to use, multi-core and multi-threads and stuff like that. But it's been very finicky, especially with my friend John. He used to have AMD, and he actually moved to the 6700K, the Intel, because he said that he'd lag all the time. He'd get clicks and
Yeah.
pops in the audio, and that was one thing I was really afraid of because
You
I
get some
couldn't-
weird latency issues too.
Yeah, you get some weird latency issues, and I just couldn't find somebody doing tests on it that showed me any positive results on it. So I figured I went to Micro Center, which is a computer store that's around here, and
A lot of big name YouTube people go to Micro Center. Actually.
yeah, they do.
I'm surprised you probably haven't run into Jay's 2 cents
I'm waiting.
because he goes to Micro Center.
I sit in my car, staring at the entrance.
We're a big fan of you, Jay's 2 cents. You're awesome.
So
Sorry,
he is pretty rad.
You're awesome, dude. Like seriously, I talked to him like he's listening. You're awesome, dude. I'm gonna send him the podcast
So I went there. They were having a deal on it. It was
on the
on the Ryzen. It
Yeah.
was buy the processor, get $100 off the motherboard, even though they insisted
We need to
on-
specify that this specifically is the 1800X.
the 1800X.
Yeah,
It
don't
is.
get it twisted.
It's not the 1700. It's not the 700X. It's not the
Yeah.
5. It's the 1800X.
1800X.
This is the only thing I've been able to compare it to.
And you have it at 3.9 right now.
I have overclocked it at 3.9 right
Okay.
now.
So continue. Sorry.
So they were having $100 off. Any of the Ryzen processors, they were having $100 off the motherboard. They
Yeah.
insisted on telling me it's only 50, but I mean the price showed it was 100. But
Yeah.
that's besides the point.
Right.
Um,
Get your stuff together, Microsoft.
they also have a 15-day guarantee where you can take it back if you don't like it, if it doesn't work out the way you want it to. So I figured $100 off. You got 15 days to test it out. I'm on a little over week 1.
Yeah.
And so far with recording, with video editing, with just everyday things, recording, playing games and stuff like that, recording audio on Cubase, it has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm not unhappy with it at all. It wipes the floor with my 6700K as much as I hate to admit it.
Wow.
I've always been an Intel guy. I've never really liked what AMD ever did, and I was very skeptical about going to this, but
You really think it wipes the floor with the 6700K? Is it because of the 4 extra cores?
yeah.
Is it really why?
I mean,
The flexibility of 4 additional cores.
You can do so much more just because there's so much more headroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's, especially with Cubase, you can put so many more instrument tracks
Yeah.
in your session because,
How fast did you say you bounced that track you guys were working?
oh gosh, we had like an hour and a half. It was just, vocal, but
Yeah.
it was about an hour and a half, and I bounced it in about 50 seconds.
And
And-
originally,
and it had compressors, it had different EQs on it, it had like a de-esser, it had a few different inputs on it.
right.
And originally that would take me like maybe a little over 2 minutes. So from that to 50 seconds is
Pretty quick.
and even editing video, 15-minute video out of like Premiere or something like that. What would usually take me 15 minutes to bounce it out, it takes me like 8 minutes now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with it. Really happy with the way AMD went. Seeing as I was a huge Intel guy, I didn't want to be that guy that didn't try out better technology just because it was a name.
Yeah, a
like,
name.
Though it's
Yeah.
it's not Intel, I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. I like to look at things as far as like specs go and as far as performance goes and just the numbers. The name kind of helps sometimes, like.
Yeah. It does.
It's better. This is like if Intel had made the same thing. I was, I might as well just go Intel. But
Should never do that.
honestly, this beat it out, so I had to go and try it.
That's the other thing too, is like because the Ryzen 7, the 1800X, specifically, it's way cheaper as an 8-core than you would get from an Intel-based processor, and people are saying it's better.
Even in all the benchmarks, so far the 8-core Intel, it has been better than the only Intel that really beats it is the 6950X, which is roughly $1,300 to $1,500 now.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
10
way
core
too
20.
much.
It's a 10 core 20 thread. So I mean, that's going to beat it out.
Of course.
If this,
But I'm not
it-
willing to spend that much money to beat out an
no, you're paying
1800X.
$460 for the 1800X.
Yeah.
Where they want over twice that
For 2
They're-
cores.
Yeah, for
For
two more
two
cores
and a few.
and
How many more threads?
And it does have I'm not going to deny that it does have significant jumps in performance.
Oh, definitely. But it's not justify the price.
But it doesn't justify the price,
Yeah.
especially because they're still running off the old, Generation 5 architecture. So I don't know. It just Intel now has something to work against, which is kind of nice. It's going to be interesting to see what they do.
I think Intel's for a very long time has been very much like they know they're on top, so they're kind of like, what do we have to do to like? We can put any price point. I think because not that many people like AMD. Now AMD came up with Ryzen, and that makes people go. That make Intel go, oh crap. I think they really for a second there they went like, oh, or they're not worried at all. But I know a lot of people who say the Ryzen is great. It's a great chip. And I want one. And that's why I always tell people, like, don't rule out AMD ever. Like, okay, I bought the 6700K. And I upgraded from the 8350, the AMD FX 8350, the 8-core. Mm-hmm. And I had that overclocked to 4, I think it was. And great. And then I had the 8320 as well. But the 8350 specifically had the extra cores. And I tested it against the 6700K, the Intel i7 6700K. And I still swear the 8350 outperformed the 6700K. In my render times that I was doing, because, okay, I was doing a lot of filmmaking, photography, cinematography, right. Just in general graphic design, a lot of motion graphics, stuff like that with After Effects and in Photoshop. And my render times were way faster on the 8350 than they were with the 6700K. And also my workflow was a lot more fluid on the 8350 than the 6700K. Those 4 additional cores, regardless of whatever, if it's 3.5 or 4 or 4.1, 3.9, doesn't matter. Those 4 cores make a big difference. And I was only running 16 gigs of RAM. Now I'm running 32 gigs of DDR4. So I was running 16 gigs of DDR3, and my render times and workflow was more fluid and faster than the i7 6700K with 32 gigs of DDR4. What?
I think that's what made you
4 extra cores.
I think that's what made you more of an AMD guy and me more of an Intel guy, because you used yours for a workstation.
Yeah.
That's what you used your processor and your computer for, was a workstation. I used mine for gaming.
Yeah.
And the 6700 on top of, even benchmarks against the 1700, it's still doing better, or the 7700, I guess, the upgraded Gen 7 of it,
right,
is doing better in benchmarks on gaming. In fact, if you look at the benchmarks on gaming, it's technically doing better than the 1800X.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's, it all depends on how you tweak it.
Yeah.
But those Intels were made for gaming, and that's not what you needed it for.
No, yeah, exactly.
When you use it as a workstation, I use user benchmark all the time. And when I did the benchmark on my 6700K, I saw workstation was it did the gaming percentage was like at 103% on how good it was on gaming.
How many volts were you running that at, though?
Standard 125.
125? Okay.
Yeah, not very high. My, what was it? Desktop, I think, is the next category that it puts you in.
Yeah.
Was at like 80.
Okay.
And my workstation, which is the last category it puts you in, was at 64%.
Yeah.
And now I have 32 gigs of RAM. I had it clocked. It's DDR4. I had it clocked at 2933. I had the i7 itself clocked at 4.6 when I did those.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was as far as I can push it, with it still being very stable.
With it
completely
being
stable, Cinebench and all that stuff. It still ran great. This new Ryzen 7 1800X, let's see, what were my percentages? It was something like gaming was actually, before I overclocked it, gaming was like 108%. Desktop was at 99%. And then the last one, workstation, was at 113% before I overclocked it. Then I bumped it up to 3.9, which is like the last push I can get before it just became kind of unstable in Cinebench.
Right.
I don't even remember the numbers for that, but they were slightly high. Everything was in the 100%. Like everything was up above 100%, which is a huge difference.
And you also were running, obviously, because you weren't worried about graphics, but you wanted to see what the processing was like, because you ran Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
And how long did you run Heaven for?
The Heaven benchmark I ran for, as long as the benchmark usually goes, I ran it. But that Heaven benchmark, I have the 1080, the Asus
the Strix
1080 Strix.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I mean, it's always going to make my gaming scores up high because.
But your processor still makes a difference.
But the processor does make it a pretty good difference.
Yeah.
Heaven, the benchmarks were kind of even here and there. I'm definitely getting more stable frame rates with the Ryzen than I am with the i7.
And what are your temperatures at, though? Because that was my other question. Because I know that because of that, because you did clock it to 3.9 now, and you do have a water cooler, using my Corsair H100i in there. Actually the first gen, which is still good. Still but good. What are your temperatures at? Does it fluctuate so much? And then also, does your volts change? Does your voltage change?
So
the fluctuate?
The voltage is really scary on this Ryzen. I think it's across all Ryzens, but it might just be the 1800X. I thought I'd seen it somewhere else before, but it comes stock at 1.45 volts. And that's really high.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because we were messing with it.
Yeah,
I was like, 1.45.
1.45. Yeah. I had to pull it down. I think I can run 3.9 stable at 135.
That's still high.
And that's still high. Yeah. But everyone's saying that that's super normal.
However, I don't think that's that normal.
However, AMD tells you not to go above 145 because of longevity.
Right.
They're saying anywhere between 1.35 and 1.4 is a good place to be.
Right.
But I mean, if you go down to 1.2, you're noticing, huge, bring downs in all your timing. Like if you run Cinebench, everything runs a little bit slower. Like you're changing between that 0.10 volts, you're changing about, I want to say about 50 to 75 points on Cinebench alone.
Right.
Which is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I found 135 is a really good spot for it. But the temperatures, I think I topped out the other day running Heaven for quite a while at 35 Celsius.
That's not bad.
39 Celsius, maybe.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all. This is the first time I've gone with any kind of water cooling.
Right.
Which obviously you let me borrow this one. I'm still really nervous.
Yeah, he came over and I set it all up for him, and he was just like, yeah, the whole time.
Yeah, I'm still very.
He's
nervous
like, what if? And I'm like, dude, it's fine.
But now I went and bought the NZXT Kraken X62.
You just bought that.
I'm gonna be putting that in a new Corsair tower that I bought, the 760T.
Yeah. Kraken, dude, it's such a good water cooler.
I'm getting a little more confident with water cooling. It's definitely, since I'm overclocking more, it's just keeping me at better temperatures.
Water cooling it
looks pretty.
It does. Water cooling looks
even
looks
with
pretty.
Just two regular hoses. Still looks good.
Yeah, it's safe. I mean, if you do anything, it's obviously user error, but it's pretty safe. But that just goes hand in hand with don't be okay, because that what I'm going to talk about next is because you were talking to me. You hit me up specifically. It was like, hey, what about the NZXT Kraken? And I was like, dude, the NZXT Kraken, I would much rather have the Kraken over the Corsair H100i, and that's not because the Corsair H100i isn't a good water cooler. I think that the NZXT cooling systems, the pre-cooling systems, I think they're better. That's just my own personal opinion. I think that the coverage on the actual block is better. On it, it's not obnoxious, because I have the H100i V2 in my system, and that piece that goes over your processor it's
huge,
obnoxious. It's huge. And for a little bit they're using it, I didn't think it was gonna fit. I did not think. I thought it was gonna go over and hit some pins, some like other things I had on the board, and I was like, man, this thing is obnoxious.
I mean, you look at the cooler I used to have, and you want to talk about obnoxious?
You had
the Cooler Master V8
GTS, the transformer.
Yeah, it's about this big.
Yeah, the V8 GTS. That thing, I don't understand who thought of that.
I thought about buying it.
But you didn't think about it. You bought it.
I thought about it and then I bought it.
It barely fits in anyone's case.
Barely fit. I could barely
fits.
close the case. It was probably about that far from the front case.
Barely fits. And you know what? I will say,
it was loud.
Is water cooling more efficient than air cooling? Personally, I think so, because airflow on the processor, you're pushing air off of a unit within the case itself, and it's being distributed into the case and then blown out.
Yeah.
Water cooling, it's being distributed to outside the case and being expelled outside the case, so it keeps the case cooler.
Yeah, I agree.
Personally, I think water cooling is better. Now, as far as what brand you go to, don't go just because it's Corsair, just because it's Cooler Master, just because it's whatever. Go out, look it up.
I wish there was a website that you can go to, which if there is, don't make it. Or if there isn't, don't make it, because I'm going to make it now. I just thought about it. That you can look up what
Patent
you
pending.
want. You can look up, like, say, the size radiator or whatever, or size part or whatever that you want, and it shows you a list of specs for each product, but doesn't show you the actual product. It just shows you the list of specs from size, all that fun stuff. Everything you want to look at as far as how good is this going to be, is this is going to work for me.
Right.
And then when you pick the one after comparing and you pick the one that you feel is the best, then it shows you what the product is. And then you're like, oh my gosh. Like, I think that would be cool, because I, in Micro Center, probably drove my girlfriend nuts because I was, for 2 hours, debating going between the Corsair H115i and the NZXT Kraken X62. I was going back and forth so much because I have a Corsair case, I have Corsair power supply, I have Corsair RAM, and
you want
Corsair
to all be uniform. You want to all
there,
be the same, yeah.
Yeah, the Corsair logo on there would be the same, which is what it is right now. It's a Corsair case with all the same stuff with a Corsair logo in the middle.
All the Corsair coolness.
And it looks good, but
you got a Corsair fans in there.
I have a few. Somewhere hidden in there, I have NZXT.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But yeah, thank you. But I just, knowing that, looking at the actual numbers of it, once I finally came down to, is it really going to matter to me if it says NZXT in the middle of my case? No, it's not. Sometimes it might, but it won't 100% of the time. Looking at it, the NZXT runs about 2 degrees hotter, but that's at, I think it was like 500 RPM lower.
Right.
So you're getting a quieter fan. You're getting better power consumption or lower power consumption. Yeah. And just about as good of cooling. So NZXT obviously won on that one. Yeah. But I was so torn between how's this going to look to me, like what, and it that shouldn't matter, but it's
all aesthetics. That's what I was stating earlier. Was
I'm not making an aesthetic build just yet.
Yeah,
not yet.
You just want something that works well.
Performance.
Yeah. So just don't go off of, unless you're doing a specific build, like you want a uniform build where it's all Corsair or it's all NZXT, it's all Cooler Master, or it's all like Bit Phoenix or whatever. Don't just go. Don't do brands, because you know what? Corsair doesn't. Not everything Corsair makes is amazing. Not everything NZXT makes is amazing. Yeah. Not everything. Not everything Intel makes is amazing. I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Or if it is, it's expensive.
It's so expensive. I think we could all agree that Intel products are very expensive, for less than what you could get from another party, from like another person. Like, okay, Intel SSDs are so expensive, and I have Samsung Evo. Yeah, you have Samsung Evos.
I have quite a few of them,
and they're like, "What's the difference?" Then it's the name. You pay for the brand. I know people who have Intel SSDs. I've tried Intel SSDs. I run Kingston's now, like in the HyperX stuff, and no problem.
You're not gonna.
I don't notice that much of a difference, and I'm not paying an extra couple $100 because it says Intel on it and it's silver.
Yeah,
I don't care.
You're not going to really see no. Even I don't see the difference in running, sessions through Cubase. I have 3 different SSDs in my computer now that I stored, obviously different things, games in one, music and everything, because I want everything dedicated. I don't notice a difference, even if I'm using Cubase on, say, my C drive and pulling from like my D or E drive, pulling the session from that drive. You don't notice any lag, and that's pretty intensive on transfer. So
yeah,
doing that with the Evo, you're not going to notice the difference in the Intel. I don't feel like you're going to be pulling that much.
No.
And if you are, then you're going with an M.2 or you're going with a PCI SSD.
Yeah, and M.2 is great, but not that many people are rocking the M.2, because the price point of it and who's really got it, which is a lot of Intel stuff.
A lot of Intel.
And I'm not down to pay that much for M.2 because of Intel. Like, I'm just not worth it. So, you know what? There's a couple things that I will state. Don't buy something just because you're a fanboy. Don't buy Intel just because you're an Intel fanboy. Don't buy Kingston just because you're a Kingston fanboy, or a HyperX or whatever. Don't buy it just because you're a fanboy, or Samsung even. Dude, Samsung's got crap too. Every company has crap. No one can say that a company has perfectly everything. If that was the case, then you wouldn't have upgrades. If the H100i was perfect, they wouldn't have a V2. Just saying. Yeah. Guess what? NZXT has a Kraken.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
But give it time, there'll be another one.
There'll be another one.
There's different radiator sizes. There's all sorts of stuff. Don't go off of just because you're a fanboy. It's okay to be a fanboy. Me, I do love Corsair stuff.
Oh, I thought you were going to say NZXT.
Yeah.
We've had this
conversation
I love
NZXT.
Before.
I love NZXT. I like Bitfinex, though. Like, I love these companies, but I'm not going to buy an NZXT case just because, like, I love NZXT when what I need for, like, a build would be something that Corsair could provide.
Didn't we talk about this earlier?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying from my needs.
Right.
If I was going to do a custom water loop and I needed more clearance and NZXT couldn't provide that, then I would go with Corsair. Because Corsair cases generally seem to have more clearance than other cases.
Let's not, deny that sometimes we don't just go for something that looks really pretty too.
Yeah. Looks good.
Looks is a big thing.
Looks is a big thing. That's why I have the Noctis. I love the NZXT Noctis. It looks cool.
That's why mine looks like an ammo can.
Yeah, it does. It looks like something from military.
Rad.
And the other thing too is don't just listen to any one person's opinion. And I know that that's something that a lot of tech guys say. Don't listen to just my opinion. Go ask around. My personal opinion, don't just buy something because it's just a Corsair or just because it's a, Intel. Or just because it's an AMD. Don't do that. Shop around.
Yeah.
Look at numbers. Trust your gut.
Look
seriously.
up reviews. There's plenty of people doing reviews out there.
JZ2 says, Linus Tech Tips. There you go. Like, those are shout outs like they need it.
Yeah.
But, like, those are 2 people. Go on.
What was that one I was watching? The Hardware Unboxed?
Yeah, Hardware Unboxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do awesome stuff. They do great benchmarks. They do accurate benchmarks. Everybody's doing benchmarks on everything because it's easily accessible as long as they can buy the part. There's so much research that you could do before you go buy something.
There's so much. Don't just trust any one person's opinion, and don't choose your stuff just because you're a fanboy. That's all I could say, really. I have like a Frankenstein build on my computer, a little bit. It happens. A little bit, but I don't regret it. If I wanted it all to be uniform, I'd make it uniform. But yeah. But I love my build. You love your build. You like your Ryzen. Yeah. Surprisingly, you like your Ryzen.
It almost hurt a little bit. It almost hurt a little bit to say that I'm beyond happy with it. Like, it's good because I spent money on it. So I'm glad that I'm happy with it.
Right.
But it wasn't.
Because that would suck if you bought it and you hated it.
Yeah. I wasn't expected to be completely blown away, but I wasn't expected to be let down either. Like, I wasn't thinking that it was going to be any worse. I was thinking, maybe I'll notice a little bit of a difference. If I did, cool. Maybe just send it back if it was just a tiny bit difference that I can't justify the extra money for, because I still have all the Intel stuff that I'm going to end up making a second build out of. But as far as going for a main computer, I'm going to stick with this Ryzen 7, and I didn't think I was going to do that. So
So we're gonna go to our next topic. We're gonna move off PCs for a second here, which is
Everyone needs to calm down.
we're gonna talk about a video game console. This is gonna be awesome because I don't really get to talk about consoles very much. I'm super excited. Nintendo has talked about 2DS XL.
Just saw that this morning.
Okay, 2DS XL. It's a clamshell. First off,
It's very nice.
it's really nice.
It's very nice.
It's super nice, and I've been waiting for this because I never used a 3D on my 3DS. Even when I was playing A Link Between Worlds, I hated using the 3D for the parts that you had to actually use. I hated it, and I don't see the purpose. I think Nintendo realizes like not that many people actually use the 3D. Not that many people use it.
It was a change. It was something.
Yeah.
It was something that Nintendo always does. They throw out some crazy idea that they want to try it out. For a while, the 3D was kind of cool, but it was also making people feel sick, or it just wasn't that great because, God forbid, you move a centimeter to the left or to the right, everything gets super blurry. So they came out with a new one that made it work better. But you're right. Mine is usually turned down unless something is really cool, and then I take the 3D switch and I go whoa, like that, and then make it go back and forth between 3D and not. But
yeah, I never use it. Hurt my eyes.
It drains the battery. It hurts your eyes.
It hurts my eyes.
We're getting old, so I mean, we can't handle that kind of depth all the time. It's just not good for us, man.
The screen size is the same size as the 3DS XL.
Yeah,
the new 3DS XL. The problem well, it's not a problem. It's something that I'm curious about, and I actually haven't been able to find anything online. So if anybody does find this information online, send it to me on Twitter because I like to know. I searched it all over the place, but I don't know what the pixel density is on the screen of the 2DS because I know that my Majora's Mask 3DS, the pixel density on that thing was amazing on the new 3DS. The latest ones that have come out, I've heard from a lot of people that it's not that great, and I don't know. I
don't know. I didn't
of
see
the
that.
changes. I know that because of Majora's Mask 3DS, I noticed a difference. Like looking at mine, and then looking at another buddy of mine who had like a different 3DS XL, the new one. It looked different. I don't know what it was, and then I looked at Matt actually has a 2DS.
Okay.
And the screens are obviously smaller on the 2DS, but they I don't know, the screen, the pixel density on my Majora's Mask 3DS XL, the pixel density, like it just looks better. So I don't know what it's going to be on the new 2DS, considering that it doesn't have the 3D option.
You don't have to worry about that in the screen technology.
No.
All you have to worry about is that 2D LCD. I'm pretty sure it's LCD screen.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard people say that the new 3DS XL even has better quality than like the Vita. The Vita and a lot of phones, a lot of like modern phones. I'm sorry, it does. I mean, I own a Vita and I gave it to the guys at PS I Love You for the PlayStation Vita adoption program.
Yeah.
I gave it to them. And I would agree with that I feel that the new 3DS XL pixel density, the screen resolution is better than the Vita.
Which is just so funny because Nintendo never has as graphically intensive games as stuff like the PS Vita or anything Sony or anything like that. But they always seem to be coming out with the more, like the screens can take things that are way more graphic intensive than anything they throw at it. But it's just funny that they don't have anything to match what their screen, because the Majora's Mask on mine, I have the new 3DS XL, and it looks great. I also had a 3DS XL before that. I guess I've never really compared
Not the new
way
3DS XL.
I have both of them.
Okay.
I have the 3DS XL. It's a blue one, and I have the new 3DS XL.
It's a blue one.
It's the Majora's Mask one because reasons. And
because reasons.
And I guess I'd never done a side by side comparison of them, but
you should.
But Nintendo's always putting out stuff that is constantly impressive, and the games just never 100% push that. Like you're not getting like the Switch with like GTA 5 graphics. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
You're not getting that on the Switch, but you have a screen and hardware that could support that. It's just It's kind of how I like it. It's overkill for something you're never going to use. It makes me happy.
I'm just glad that we could talk about that for a quick second. The fact that what graphic system is in the Switch?
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
the Nvidias.
Yeah,
Was the first console to use Nvidia,
yeah.
and
they were using AMD for so
they
long.
had, if you look on the Wii's, they all have ATI inscribed into them.
Yeah.
And everybody's been using AMD for the longest time, and Switch just switched it up and used Nvidia, and it's killing it.
Did you just make a Switch joke?
So I did. Thank you. People were complaining before it came out that
That's the sound that it make.
Yeah. People were complaining before it even came out that there's no way like a game like Breath of the Wild could run smooth off of the dock.
And which is false.
I hardly ever play it on the TV because I'm so lazy that I don't want to like turn this way while I play to watch my TV while I'm laying on my couch like a lazy bum. And I don't want to be slouched and like taco neck. Like nobody wants to do that. So I usually always have it.
Hashtag
taco neck. I usually always play it handheld, and I've never noticed an issue at all with lag, with resolution drops, like frame drops, anything like that. I haven't noticed. So Nvidia always killing it on the graphics. Always impressing me. Maybe need to slow down a little bit on all the new cards coming out. Everybody take it easy for a
Titan
second.
XP, and then the new XP and the Titan X.
Wait until the Titan Z comes out.
Titan Z. And just get there already. Jeez. And then go back to A.
Yeah, and then go back to
A.
Or go
2, 3.
Yeah.
Colossus. Why are they just using numbers?
Can they get Titan Colossus? If you guys
Titan
use that.
Colossus?
If you guys use that, call me.
Yeah.
Let me know.
The Titan Raptor series. Wow.
I'll bill you.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, but so 2DS XL, the new 2DS XL is $150.
150.
150. You could take your new 3DS XL, take it to GameStop, sell it for store credit, buy the 2DS, and then buy games.
Yeah.
Yeah, still have games to buy.
Still have games to buy.
That's
money
amazing.
Left over to buy.
Do that. Because I know none of you guys are using the 3D. You guys are using the 3D. Who uses the 3D?
Unless you do what I did and just turn it on and off.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
cool.
I did that so much.
I do. And then I get a headache, and then and then I lay down and I fall asleep.
You heard it here first, guys. 3DS XL.
3DS.
Perfect sleeping aid.
Gives me headaches. Makes me fall asleep.
It's great. So, are you going to buy it? You going to buy one?
150. I'm thinking about it.
I'm going to buy one.
I want it.
I'm going to buy one.
I want it.
I'm going to buy one.
The color scheme, the like blue and black color scheme is kind of cool.
And they got the orange and white one too.
I don't know about that one.
I'm buying that one.
I don't want a creamsicle.
I'm buying that. I like creamsicles. They're delicious.
Make the blue and black one come with Mario Kart.
You know that
that's the Mario Kart. That's the Mario Kart color.
You know they're gonna come out with special editions.
Yeah,
they have to.
Yeah,
they have to. I'm stoked because I want to play Pokemon on it because I don't use 3D anyway, and I wonder how much better it's gonna be. I don't know. I'm just curious how the games are gonna be better on the 2DS XL. I guess we'll find out in July. July 29th it comes out. So.
Oh yeah, you know the date. I don't.
So yeah, like I said, if anybody knows about the pixel density, about the 2DS XL, tweet me. You can find me on Twitter.
Tweet
at that Stephen Brown.
Tweet.
What's your Twitter?
Oh, my Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
For Blink-182 fans out there, it's at DysenteryGary44.
DysenteryGary44. You can find them down here. You can find the module on iTunes and Google Play and on YouTube, and you can find us streaming this on Twitch on Wednesdays at 2:00 p.m.
At 2:00 p.m. Not a.m.
It comes out before the audio podcast, so the audio podcast goes up online on Thursdays, so you can watch it live, which you probably are already, on Wednesdays at 2:00 p.m. So, thank you guys for listening and watching to us talk about technology, computers, and video games.
It's the way of the future.
It is the way of the future. And
we also learned
computer science.
Yeah, we also learned that there's such thing as computer science.
Yeah,
it's a science for computers.
It's real. It exists.
It's true.
So thank you guys for watching and listening. I will see you guys next time.
Adios.
Bye.